son of a bitch.
Hello and welcome back to Fact Me Up channel. In today's video we're going to dive deep into the jungle of secrets and surprises behind the 1987 sci-fi classic The Predator and uncover 12 mind-blowing facts about the movie that has hunted its way into our hearts. From Jean-Claude Van Damme being fired as the original Predator for too much complaining, to the rivalry between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse Ventura over who had the biggest arms. I said arms. Get ready to learn what made Predator a timeless action thriller. But before we embark on this thrilling adventure, I wanted to say huge thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Let me speak from my heart.
For helping me reach the first milestone, hopefully the first milestone out of many. We've reached 1,000 subscribers. Without you it wouldn't have been possible. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you. Let's dive in. Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally cast to play the Predator, the idea being that the physical action star would use his martial arts to make the Predator an agile ninja-like hunter. However, the original design for the Predator was too cumbersome and difficult to manage in the jungle, and Van Damme couldn't make the required movements in it. Additionally, it was reported that Van Damme constantly complained about the monster suit being too hot, causing him to pass out, while also voicing his reservations on numerous occasions about the fact that he would not be appearing on camera without the suit. He complained so much that Arnold called him a constant complainer. Van Damme was finally removed from the film, officially for being too short at 5'9". For comparison, Arnold Schwarzenegger and his team were bodybuilders between 6'2" and 6'5". But there are actually different versions as to what really happened and why he was fired. For example, it is rumored that the producer Joel Silver said, "JC, I know it's hot, but we are losing precious time. If you pass out one more time, we gotta fire you." Van Damme passed out, so they fired him. Another rumor says that Van Damme didn't like the Predator head so much that when they first put it on him, he smashed it on the floor. The head cost was $20,000, so Joel Silver fired him. Other rumors say that he did too much kickboxing. Special effects supervisor Joel Hynek said, Joel Silver was saying, "You gotta stop kickboxing, the Predator is not a kickboxer." And Van Damme was like, "That's how I see the Predator." And Joel said, "Well, you're fired, get out." To which Van Damme replied, "Kiss my balls," and walked out. Van Damme was eventually replaced by Kevin Peter Hall, who was 7'2", and the suit was redesigned because even with a more imposing actor, it was felt to not provoke enough fear. The Predator costume ended up weighing over 200 pounds, and even though 7'2" Kevin Peter Hall was a large and powerful man, he had to be connected to a bungee rig to enable him to move more believably. There's actually a fun fact within fact. The black helicopter pilot scene at the end of the movie is actually Kevin Peter Hall, the actor who played the Predator. Director John McTiernan gave him the brief on-screen role because his work as a Predator was so exhausting and he wanted a change of scenery. Arnold Schwarzenegger won a bottle of champagne for having bigger arms than Jesse Ventura. After meeting Jesse Ventura, Arnold Schwarzenegger recommended him to the producers of Predator for the role of Blaine. When it came to shooting, Ventura was ecstatic to hear from the costume department that his arms were an inch bigger than Schwarzenegger's.
The biggest thrill for me was when we hit wardrobe, and I happened to view Arnold's wardrobe tape, and when my arms taped out 1 inch bigger.
So when he was back on the set, he challenged Schwarzenegger to a bet where they would measure their arms, and the one with the biggest arms would get a bottle of champagne.
"We should measure our arms. Who has bigger arms?" I said, "Of course we should." I said, "Let's bet a bottle of champagne." He says, "Of course we should."
They measured arms and Schwarzenegger's are bigger. Ventura lost because Arnold, a slippery little bastard that he is, had planned this all along and asked the wardrobe department to tell Ventura that his arms were bigger on purpose.
Well, I'm very happy about that because then my joke worked. Because I told the wardrobe department they should tell him that, so I can bet him a bottle of champagne afterwards when he comes to the gym.
The studio's insurance company would not agree to insure the production of the film unless a bodyguard was hired for one of the cast members. Sonny Landam, who played Billy, the team's expert tracker, was known to have such a short fuse that the studio hired a bodyguard to protect people from him. This bodyguard followed Landam everywhere he went to make sure he didn't get into any trouble on the set. Director John McTiernan recalls,
"So we had this 6'8" tall giant man who just had to follow Sonny around 24 hours a day, the entire time he worked in the movie, and make sure that Sonny never misbehaved."
The idea for the film was inspired by a joke about Rocky IV. As revealed in the 2001 short documentary on the film, If It Bleeds We Can Kill It, The Making of Predator, screenwriters Jim and John Thomas got the idea for the script from a joke about Rocky IV, which came out 2 years before Predator. Basically, the premise of the joke was that after Rocky defeated all the big opponents he could take on, the only logical move for the series would be for Rocky to face off against an alien in the next film. The Thomases took that idea and ran with it, writing a script called Hunter, which eventually became Predator. Carl Weathers would get in secret early morning workouts to look buff. After his fantastic performance on the Rocky series as Apollo Creed, Weathers became the first choice of the producers to play Colonel George Dillon in Predator. While working with actors as big and muscular as Schwarzenegger and Jesse Ventura, Weathers wanted to make sure his physique could stack up. As he said in the 2001 short documentary on the film If It Bleeds We Can Kill It, The Making of Predator, Weathers acted as if his built physique came naturally to him. In actuality, he would wake up sometimes as early as 4 AM so he could work out without anyone seeing him.
Get up at 4 in the morning because you want that pump, but you don't want the other guys to see you getting that pump, because when you walk onto the set, and you look that good, it's got to be natural.
That's not all the facts about gym and workouts. Jesse Ventura pulled a prank on Arnold Schwarzenegger by pouring water over himself while at the gym before Arnold arrived one morning. Thinking that Ventura was drenched in sweat, Arnold believed that Ventura was working out longer than he usually did, so he decided to resolve that competition by beginning his workout sooner. He and Ventura both started arriving earlier to one-up each other until they both started to arrive at 4 AM. The film provided a variety of hardships for the actors, such as leeches, snakes, stifling humidity, heat, and rough terrain. All of the night scenes were actually filmed during freezing cold temperatures, which was especially hard on Arnold Schwarzenegger during the latter half of the film, when the mud he had to wear, which was actually a pottery clay, became cold and wet. He was warned it would take his body temperature down a few degrees, and he shivered non-stop, even when they tried to heat him with heat lamps, which just made the clay dry out. He tried drinking Jager tea, an Austrian schnapps mixture, to warm himself, but that just got him drunk. Some of the most memorable images from Predator are the point-of-view shots of the alien. It's seized by identifying heat signals. According to scientists, the Predator's point of view is very similar to how a snake sees its prey. To pull it off, the crew tried real heat vision cameras, but the camera cord only stretched 4 feet from the van. Also, because the ambient temperature in Mexico was 19 degrees Fahrenheit, the actors were the same temperature as the background and couldn't be seen on the heat vision. They tried spraying the trees with ice water and making the actors stand by a fire, but that didn't work either. In the end, the effect was created by using multiple types of cameras at once, whilst the heat vision cameras were also filming at the same time. There was also a regular film camera recording the same scene. In post-production, the 2 footages were altered and spliced to create the blue background with colorful silhouettes of the characters. Since the digital effects were quite expensive and there was no money in the budget for that, McTiernan had to plead to producer Joel Silver to pay for it, which luckily he did. The film starts with a team of commandos on board a helicopter cracking wise and listening to Long Tall Sally by Little Richard. Originally though, director John McTiernan planned something totally different. He wanted the team to arrive in the jungle not by helicopter, but via Team Halo jump. What was going to happen was the team's plane would be under fire from a Russian MiG and the pilot would try to leave. Dutch, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, would hold a gun to the pilot's head to force him over the landing zone, then run and leap out the back ramp, grabbing a parachute on the way. This idea was eventually scrapped and replaced with the shot that you see. Arnold Schwarzenegger has said that the Dutch's iconic line "Get to the chopper!" is his personal favorite catchphrase of all of his films that he had appeared in. The original film script had a single one-on-one chase with the Predator and a single soldier fighting it off to the death in the jungle. Schwarzenegger didn't like the idea, so he asked for a rewrite, so the creature was hunting a crew of soldiers, and this led for the rest of the cast members getting their jobs. Have you ever noticed the great chemistry among the cast? It's because Arnold also wanted this film to be his own version of The Magnificent Seven, so he contributed a lot to promote the cast camaraderie by creating workout routines and doing things together during the shooting. Arnold Schwarzenegger lost over 25 pounds before filming began in order to better fit the role of a special warfare operative who would be lean as well as muscular. Director John McTiernan gives us a taster of the commandos in action when they ambush a village of hostage-holding insurgents. It's a huge set piece and there are so many explosions in the sequence that it took the crew 2 weeks to rig the jungle up with explosives. They didn't destroy any of the jungle as that location had already been burned down in a fire a couple of years before, though they did spend time spray painting the stumps black. Then, when they started shooting, 300 Mexican extras showed up when they actually only needed 100. McTiernan, good guy as he is, paid them all and then sent 200 of them on their way.